Wow. Wow is all I have to say about that. Now, I'll get a review here for you guys. Birmingham, Alabama, February the 2nd, 2024, Groundhog Day, Smackdown after the Royal Rumble. What's up, everyone? Brett Mixer Madness here for the Smackdown post-Rumble show. And wow, I'm just out of breath almost. I just had to go out quickly, and I came back, and I see the segment with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, and I know it's going to be something. And look at what it ended up being. Amazing. First off, I want to say thank you guys to the 250 subscribers on my channel. 3 months ago, I started this thing, and I had no idea that I'd have 250 subscribers by this time. So that really blows me away. Thank you so much for that. You don't know what it means to me. Now let's go on to the Smackdown review. The first thing I noticed tonight was Corey Graves challenging himself to be a play-by-play guy. And I really think he did a banger job. It was a good job by Corey Graves. I mean, it takes a lot to go from a color guy to a play-by-play guy. You got to change everything. You got to be a storyteller. You have to be astute about the simple things. You have to definitely be sharp-witted and quick-witted on your toes. Corey Graves is all those things. Something we know about him. He's going to need more energy in his voice, and that's the first thing I noticed when I heard him tonight. He has that energy. He even tried to mimic Michael Cole with his body language, and I think that's the only thing he never needs to mimic Michael Cole-wise. I think the less he mimics Michael Cole-wise in life, the better off he'll be. The more Corey Graves he is probably the better. But as far as a play-by-play guy, he definitely did that. So this SmackDown tonight was certainly shocking. Didn't see that coming. I think Triple H and company did a great job at keeping this hidden, keeping this as a surprise. I watched that Triple H press conference at the Royal Rumble, and you knew he had a card, an ace up his sleeve. You knew there was something. I kept saying in my Royal Rumble review and my Raw review, I kept saying there's something big that's gonna happen. And even in my previews, I said there's something they're hiding. There's something that's gonna be mentioned. I should have known it was The Rock. I mean, we all thought it was going there a couple weeks ago, and then in the last week or so, it kind of settled down, and everyone was like, okay, no, it's Cody, and now it's Cody Rock. Cody Roman. But we still don't know what's going to happen. Tonight's SmackDown was definitely filled with tons of conflict, something we missed from the Royal Rumble and Raw. I thought both shows were rather mediocre. So, yeah, let's open this SmackDown review up for Birmingham, Alabama. It was a storyline-driven show. There was just stories, paths to WrestleMania, so a lot of intrigue going into this episode. We get a Royal Rumble review from the very start. Cody walking his dog, and we see Bayley with damage control. Both are going to make their decisions tonight. Logan Paul kicks off the show in spectacular fashion, says Graves. He's calling the Maverick. He says, Alabama, this place sucks. I don't want to be here. Logan Paul immediately starts ripping on Birmingham. Then he says he underestimated Kevin Owens. He says Owens did more to me than Floyd Mayweather did. He made me bleed. He made me fight, and he still lost. Paul says, when is it going to click? He is one of the toughest people on the roster. He breaks Rollins and Punk for being injured. He makes fun of them. He says, I have an injured tricep, I have an injured knee, and he basically mocked Punk and Rollins. My WrestleMania dream is gone, and then that's the way he mocked them. He called himself the Beast from the East. Rest in peace, Bam Bam. And then he called himself the best in the West, and then KO's music hits. KO said Birmingham is a great place to be. He called himself an unbearable idiot on his description list. Oh, he said he forgot to mention that when he was naming everything he was. Owen said he's ready for some prestige into that belt and get it sanitized as soon as possible. I thought that was funny given all the nude shots we have with Logan Paul. Not that we have those nude shots. I don't certainly have them. That's the way it said. I just said that, but that's not how I meant it. The web, the internet as a whole, I mean, has the shots of Logan Paul. Definitely not me. But yeah, he wants that title. He says the Knucks were a setup. He was playing chess while Owens was playing Go Fish. I thought that was a great line. Owens says KO stops at nothing to win, no matter what it takes. He just got caught at the Rumble. Owens said the next time he gets a shot, it won't take Knucks to beat his dumb ass. While Owens should be focused on Austin Theory, Paul says he's going to go talk smack on commentary. So we got our first match lined up. A decent opening segment. It did its job where it needs to do it. How it set up a match for later, for right now actually, and it entertained while it developed a feud and added to storyline and added to the character work. That's all you can ask for in an opening segment. Be entertaining, progress a story, develop character work, and at the same time maybe some comic relief, which there was, and promote a match. So all of the check marked all the boxes. So it was a good opening segment. We would have a couple better segments on the show as we'd come to find out, but as far as an opening segment goes, it did its job. Decent stuff. Austin Theory then took on Kevin Owens with Logan Paul, the U.S. champion, at commentary. Paul says Elimination Chamber will be fireworks in Australia. Theory with some rough offense. Paul says he wants to drool when looking at Theory. Okay. That's worse than me saying I have Logan Paul's pictures. Owens hits a cannonball. I don't, by the way. I think I've put that to bed enough. Owens hits a cannonball and is surprised this match didn't go to a commercial quickly into the match. I wrote that in my notes because we got a good 3 or 4 minutes of wrestling. Usually we get 1 minute of wrestling and then we go to a commercial, but we got 4 or 5 minutes of it. And then as I wrote that in my notes, sure enough, I didn't knock on wood. So we got our commercial break, but luckily we come back. Theory got on his knees up when Owens hit a swanton bomb, so he blocked that move. Owens chops away at Theory, and Owens talks trash to Logan Paul. A boot up in the corner to Austin Theory by KO, and then he hits a swanton bomb that connects this time, but Owens doesn't get the 3. Austin Theory kicks out. Fans chant KO while Logan Paul smiles during the match. He was enjoying this thing. He just says he loves watching Kevin Owens getting beat up, even though Owens was doing most of the beating up. A-Town with an impaler move. Graves doesn't know what to call it, so Bad News Barrett calls it a modified blockbuster. Theory with a great escape, and then a tilt-a-whirl powerbomb stacks up Owen high, and both guys are gassed 10 minutes into the match. Owen has brass knucks, and he hits Waller, but Owens pins Theory and gets the 3 count at 11:30 as Paul tried to distract him. Waller tried to interfere, and Owens got the better of both guys in this one. Owens chases Paul around ringside. I rated it 2 stars and 3/4 as KO gets the big win over Austin Theory to begin SmackDown. They show Rhea Ripley showing up to the arena with no makeup on. She looks a lot different with no makeup. I like it when girls wear no makeup, but yeah, she looked a lot different. Doesn't have anyone she doesn't have to dress all pretty. She's not a baby face, and it's not about looks anyway. Rhea Ripley was coming to the arena, so that made me question. So if Rhea Ripley's going to be here, that means Seth Rollins should be here, like the Raw Women's Champions on the SmackDown. So that means, by all means, Rollins should be right. I mean, that's what makes sense, but didn't end up that way. Naomi backstage signs her contract as they chant "Welcome back" did the girls. Tiffany Stratton then says, "Where's my applause?" and she smacks the hell out of one of them. I don't know if it was Michin. It would make sense if it was Michin because they had a match later, but it was one of the girls. She was out there with Shotzi, Belair, and then Naomi. So I'm not sure what the woman's name was. I didn't see her. I was doing my notes at the same time, and I missed which one she hit. If it was Michin, then it's Michin. If it was somebody else, I apologize. Belair in a separate segment asks what she has to do once Bayley makes her decision. Logan Paul then comes, and she asks that to Nick Aldis, the SmackDown GM. Logan Paul says, "Congrats on 2K, by the way," and then talks with Nick Aldis, and then she goes, "Congrats on your reality show. I'm a big fan of your husband." And then he goes back talking with Nick Aldis, and the fans laugh at that. That's the quick-witted Logan Paul. And then they do this Santos Escobar backstage segment with friends to carry on a legacy. This mantle of lucha libre, they must eradicate Rey Mysterio's LWO. That toast to honor loyalty, a Legado Fantasma. Okay. Pretty Deadly takes on LWO, taking on Angel and Humberto, taking on Bait and Butch in a 4-corner tag match to be contenders against the Raw 4-corner winner, and the winner will face the Judgment Day at Elimination Chamber for the tag titles. This will work another fatal 4-way tag where you definitely want to tag in because that's the only way you can get the victory. So people will be tagging into this match, not tagging out. All men go at it after a well-done opening sequence in the match. Cruz del Toro soars through the skies. Baseball slide to the outside. They talk in the ring, and they say, "Let's have this move go viral," as Joaquin Wilde goes through the air. Commercial break as we get Pete Dunne rolling up with high kicks. The bruiserweight gets rolling in there with more high kicks. Then Wilson suplex. Dunne lands on his feet. Wild snapped out of midair by Dunne. This is a fast action that is hard to call. Graves did such a good job trying to keep up because there's 8 men in there and they're all newer guys. They're all sort of similar and they're not big names. So Corey Graves, his first night on play-by-play, what a good job he did to keep up with the action. He did it with an enthralling pace and Dunne and Bacon, the victory 9 minutes in. I rated it 2.5 stars. It was a good tag action. You're always getting good matches on these Raws and Smackdowns the last few months. We've noticed a pattern. They're all in the 2-3 star category, and they're all around 10 minutes in length. But they give you good wrestling. What we want is storyline driven action, and tonight we got storyline driven. They show clips of Bayley announcing her decision on Friday. Damage Control backstage making fun of Bayley, and then Bayley's in the background, and she looks really distraught as she heard them making fun of her. Bayley ends up looking on in the distance, and it's clear that these ladies are going to break up, like I said in the preview show, but I'm not exactly Nostradamus for predicting that. That's what was coming, and I'm sure everyone saw it coming a mile away. That was one of the predictable things of the night. There was certainly some unpredictable things, too, as I mentioned from the get-go, and I'll continue to mention. They show Cody and Rollins promo from Monday. They did a nice little video package of former champions from the NWA and former champions from the WWE. Then they compared Psycho Sid at one point, which was weird because they were doing NWA champions like Dusty Rhodes, Terry Funk, and then they had Psycho Sid as one of the guys. Just weird. Warrior and Hogan were shown as in the bad light, and so was Psycho Sid. But then Rhodes, Funk, and Ric Flair were shown in the good light. Anyways, Bayley cuts a damn good emotional promo, and I think that's what gets lost in the shuffle for tonight. I think the headlines are stolen from Bayley. Bayley did such a nice job in her emotional promo talking about how friends are supposed to be there, and all she wanted was Damage Control to run the wrestling, and she picked up on Japanese every time they made fun of her, and then she speaks some Japanese to them. Damage Control attacked Bayley before she can say, "Io, I want you," and then Bayley hit a pipe, obviously knowing that it was going to come to the blows, so she hit a pipe, and then she fought them all off except for Io, and then she said to Io, "I'm coming for you at WrestleMania." Just a great segment. I hope Bayley's character doesn't do a complete 180, though. That remains to be seen. She's a great heel. So hopefully, as a face, she keeps some of that heel-like tendency. Lashley and the Street Profits take on the Final Testament. All 6 guys throwing haymakers, getting this thing going. Lashley drives Karrion Kross down spine first. Scarlett jumps on Lashley's back. Then Lashley with a spear. A woman helps him. I can't make out her name. It sounded like B-Fam. I could be wrong on that. If I am, I'm wrong. I'm sorry, but it sounded like B-Fam. Braun Breaker is signing a contract backstage with all this. Pierce wants to know what Breaker's doing, and then he says he's going to go to Raw with the Smackdown contract also in his hands. He's going to make his decision later, I guess. Jade Cargill comes in to talk to Nick, and Adam Pearce says, "Watch for this one. He's got an attitude." That's what Adam Pearce says about Nick Aldis to Jade Cargill. Then Tiffany Stratton from NXT, very impressive, takes on Michin. She says it's going to be Tiffy time. The center of the universe takes on the OC's girl. NXT has some great workers, and Tiffany Stratton was definitely one of them. She swung Michin on the apron, landed face first as we go to a commercial break. She asked everyone in attendance what time it is. Tiffy time, right before we went to a commercial. She looks extremely confident in there, as if she's been there a long time, so it's really all the more impressive knowing that it's her SmackDown debut. Wade says she's an outstanding capacity with that, which is what she's learned. Michin with clotheslines and thrust kicks to Tiffany Stratton and a neckbreaker. She was talking smack prematurely, which Barrett calls a rookie move. A double knee drop, and Tiffany Stratton had resourceful in-ring awareness, grabbing the rope. Tiffany Stratton grabbed her hair, and then she hits a deep Alabama slam, in Alabama to boot. Tiffany Stratton gets kicked at by Michin in the corner. Stratton power drops with Michin, and Stratton with the prettiest moonsault ever. She wins at 6.5 minutes. Graves says, "Welcome to SmackDown," after that prettiest moonsault ever. This was short and good. I rated it 2 stars and 3/4 as Stratton gets the victory over the OC's girl. Ending segment, Cody's Choice. Roman gets a huge pop as he comes out first with Birmingham and Alabama, and he says, "Acknowledge me." Roman says, "The wise men will tell you that he is the one to be here, and Roman absolutely roasts Seth for a good few minutes. And he talked about how the wise man will tell you that he's not the only one to say this, but what he said about Seth for those few minutes, my God, he just roasted him about the title being bigger, which was never in question. This is the title with the lineage to the NWA, the Dory Funks and the George Hackenschmidts and the Ed the Strangler Lewises and the Frank Gotches. And this is the one with the Bruno Sammartinos and the Hulk Hogans and the Ric Flairs and the Randy Savages and everybody else, from Stone Cold to The Rock, Benoit, Jericho, Angle, everybody. Orton, Cena. That title is Roman Reigns' title. That has the lineage. And I'm glad Cody spoke about that, saying that that's the same title his dad held in Madison Square Garden that got it taken away from him. And it's the same title Bruno Sammartino held. Roman, though, talks about his schedule, but he makes more and he works 10 times less, and how workhorses shouldn't be injured. So he just roasts Rollins. And then he even said no pop when he's mentioned Seth's name and there was no pop. He even mentioned Cody doesn't care about the money because he's got values. So that's just a great heel line. Because everyone should have values and morals and all these things, but Reigns is a heel, so he doesn't have those. And he makes fun of Cody for having them. Cody then comes out, and we get the start the show. Whoa! I'll never do that again. I'll only do it when Cody Rhodes comes out on my own when no one's watching, but I shouldn't do that on a review. Rhodes then goes on the mic against Reigns, says, what do we want to talk about? Birmingham, gets a big pop. Cody brings up that title lineage, like I said. I'm glad he talks about what's finishing the story, taking everything from Roman or taking the title from Roman. Cody says he's coming for you, Roman Reigns, but not at WrestleMania. Huge shock. Everyone's like, what the fuck? Cody says one of the ones he knows very well when he talked about he's talking to people with class, he's talking to council. That's the word he used, council, not class. He talked to council, and he knows someone really well that knows him really well. And then the crowd go, oh, because they know, is this going to be? And sure enough, if you smell, and The Rock comes out. The Rock makes his second or third appearance in the last few months, but it's still amazing to see him when he comes. No one thought he was coming tonight. I mean, it was the last thing from our minds. And here it is. Triple H said we'd get a huge surprise. I was watching the Rumble and watching that press conference and wondering, what's this huge shock? The Rock, they're really going to do it. And that's what was going through my mind. And we have 5 minutes left of Smackdown, and The Rock's in the ring. And how is Cody going to finish the story when the title shot is not at WrestleMania? We'll have to see, I guess. Rock and Roman are face-to-face. It's pretty surreal at this point. Triple H did a great job swerving the fans by not having it look like it was going to happen. Crowd chant, this is awesome, face-to-face. Everything but a holy shit chant. Great moment, great chapter-turning material, great build, and it gives us a good cliffhanger that we have to watch more episodes. So I can see why they ended it the way they did. No one person's story, by the way, is bigger than the dream match and the better match at WrestleMania. The match that makes the most money is the match that should go on. That's promoting 101. Just because Cody has a story doesn't mean that that has to go on. I said in the preview that he has to face, now that he's won the Rumble, he has to face Reigns. But as long as he faces Reigns, maybe it doesn't happen at WrestleMania, but he has to face Reigns. So as long as he faces Reigns and finishes his story, that's good. But if they're going to have Roman and Rock over Cody Roman at WrestleMania, I'm not going to complain about that. Overall, the show, I graded it a 7 out of 10 because it was above average as it was storyline driven. Bayley and Cody's segment stole the show. Logan Paul, Kevin Owens did a good job. Those three things stand out in every single way, which is what we needed after a mediocre Rumble and a mediocre Raw. We always get good wrestling, but we want top stories with top names, larger than life names. Roman, Rock, that's what we're talking about. And that's all we can ask for at WrestleMania season right now, which is definitely WrestleMania season now. If it wasn't before, it is now. So, yeah, 7 out of 10 for sure for this SmackDown. Didn't get great wrestling matches, but we got very good ones. And those two segments with Bayley turning face and The Rock coming back definitely carried the show. But now we got to see what Cody Rhodes does going forward, and we need to see what The Rock and Roman are going to say to each other. now that The Rock is back, so he should be back full-time or at least part-time doing the WrestleMania build. That spells nothing but excitement. I'm doing these reviews, and they always end up 20 minutes, just magically. They just end up 20 minutes. I guess it doesn't matter if it's a 3-hour Raw review or a 2-hour SmackDown review. You'd think they'd be different in time, but it usually ends up 20 minutes. So I could talk about this for a while. I'll do a SmackDown post Fallout, or I'll do another video on the Rock Cody Roman situation probably in the next couple days. But I just wanted to quickly do a SmackDown review, so I've done one. And thanks again, guys, for the 250 subscribers. I do the Monday Night Wars every day on this channel, so please follow along with that. I also do other pay-per-view reviews, and I do a lot of tributes to deceased wrestlers on this channel. So if you haven't hit subscribe, consider doing that. I'd very much appreciate it. And enjoy the road to WrestleMania. It's just got a lot more wild. I'm Brett Mix, and I'm out.